Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bravo Breakdown on the Just Sayin' podcast. We are recapping season 20, episode 4 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. This episode is titled Boxed In. Okay, so let's get into it. We start off at Gina's house. Emily comes over to do TikToks. Gina gives Emily a birthday gift, and it's a hoodie, but there are 2 heads, which Gina says are for me and you. Emily laughs and says, "We are going to be so annoying." Shannon shows up and they promptly show her the hoodie, doing a little dance. Emily then tells them about her Dior clutch and the purple vibrator gift from Carmella. Gina then says, "You show up a B invite and you bring a Dior bag?" Ouch, Gina, that's a little harsh. Sounds like a little jealousy there. Gina asks, "How much do you think it was?" Emily says, like $3,000. Shannon says, "More than that." Gina says, "I didn't know she had bankroll like that. A $3,000 bag and a sex toy? Are we going to pretend that's normal? Is she buying your love?" Yeah, Gina is so jealous that Emily got this beautiful bag. If that was her birthday and Carmella brought her the same gift, I'm sure she would freaking love it and probably not appreciate her friends making it seem weird. Okay, and just saying, Carmella is new. It's season 20. She just wanted to do a nice gesture for another housewife. If that had been a birthday for any other housewife, I feel Carmella would have given the same gift. So, seem a little jealous, Gina. The convo then moves over to Shannon, and they ask, "How did your lunch go with Vicki and Tamra?" Gina's phone then rings, and it's Tamra. She puts it on FaceTime, and Tamra then invites the ladies over to her house for a taco bar night. Gina tells Shannon she needs to do more TikToks. Shannon says, "Well, actually, she just had an intervention the other day with Heather, who told her she is leaving money on the table by not doing more social media posting." And then they start doing all these weird pantyhose things, TikToks. I don't know. It was weird. So, whatever. Then pan over to Tamra. She is at Fernanda's workout studio. I love this. Fernanda is from back in the day, early days of Tamra on the show. She had some flirtatious scenes with Fernanda. They did the No Hate campaign together. I love that they brought her back for season 20. I was just so excited when it was like, "Fernanda!" I was like, now I have to go back and watch the episodes with Fernanda because they were pretty juicy from what I remember. Heather then walks in with Jen. Jen tells the ladies about her convo with her son Grayson. Tamra says it's tough. Kids react to divorce at different stages in their life. Jen says, "I wish someone could tell me how to navigate this." Heather says every kid is different. Heather tells the girls she gave Shannon an intervention because her social media is terrible. Tamra says, "I have noticed a change in your social media. You always leave me out of the TikToks." Sounds petty, but now that I know I'm in a box, Heather says, "I don't know how to prove to you that I like someone. I'm not a love bomber." Tamra says, "I'm just inside my head about it." Jen says, "I get confused by your friendship." Tamra says, "You're a people pleaser, Heather." Jen says, "But you want to keep your hands out the cookie jar." Heather says, "Not true. Every convo I have is exactly how I feel." We then pan over to Vicki. She is having dinner with her son, Michael. Michael lives in Spain. He says everything is open late. You can stay out and eat till 2 a.m. Michael runs Kodo Life Insurance Division. Their first season, he was going to college, and now he is 40 years old. He said the OC is boring, but it is a good place for families. Michael, totally got the assignment from his mom in the business world. I see how my mom lives, and I want to live that same way. He just he just picked up what she put down, and he is living an amazing life following in his mom's footsteps in the insurance business. Vicki says, "Are we going to have children? Should we freeze your sperm?" Michael says, "I kind of like my selfish life." Vicki says, "I couldn't imagine my life without you and Brianna." Michael then says, "I haven't seen Brianna in 8 years." Wow. Says he hasn't even met two of her children. Brianna lives in Oklahoma. Michael lives in Spain. Vicki says, "How did you get to be 40?" Vicki says, "I want my life back. I want you and Brianna young." She still regrets leaving Don and divorcing him. Vicki's been saying this for a while. This is not new to me, but I can just tell, like, when she looks back on her life, people say, like, "Oh, what would you have done different?" I think she would always say leaving Dawn for Brooks. Like, I feel like she just looks back on that and she's one of those things she regrets in life. I mean, she has a wonderful life. She's with a great guy now, but just when you look back on things, I can tell she does regret that. But I'm happy to hear. She said Brianna and Dawn are still close. So that's nice. But that 8-year comment from Michael, that created quite the buzz on social media because Michael responded to a comment with some more context to the 8-year comment. So he responded to someone and said, "I've never been invited out there," meaning Oklahoma, "and she doesn't visit California. I was living in Hawaii and now Spain. A couple years ago, I said I wanted to visit when I was fairly close to Oklahoma, and she said it wasn't a good time because of her husband, who I don't get along with very well." So there's a little bit of context there, but that does happen with families. So I wish them the best, and I hope they can reunite eventually. But Michael says they do, text all the time and they're constantly in communication on their cell phones. So that's good. That's at least they're keeping in touch. So I wish them all the best and hopefully they can reunite and then Vicki can tell us about it. Okay, next scene is Jen and Tamra meeting at the bar. And just saying, I think Jen is one of the best additions to Housewives in a long time. There's just something about her. She's just a perfect match for the OC. And I'm loving this little thing she has going on with Tamra. Tamra says, "I'm excited to get to know Carmella." Jen says she has a lot of layers. She's a girl's girl. Tamra says, does she know what Vicki has been saying about her? Carmella then walks in. She says to the ladies she went with Shannon and Emily to a cowgirl sex workout. Okay. Carmella then tells the ladies she hadn't seen Emily since her birthday party and the whole gift situation. Tamra says, "Oh yeah, I heard about that." And then the scene then pans back to their cowgirl sex workout where it shows Emily thanking Carmella, saying that was so generous and it was a beautiful gift, but tells her, Gina has been very vocal about it. Gina wants to know her motive about this gift. Carmella says, "That's gross to accuse me of having some ulterior motive." Jen says, "You have to understand, Gina and Emily are best friends. Maybe Gina feels territorial of her friendship." Carmella says, "Just be happy someone got her a Dior bag." Tamra says, "It's an expensive gift to give someone you don't know." Carmella says, "It wasn't crazy expensive. It was a wallet-sized clutch." Jen says, "To you." Tamra says, "I also heard what you pay for your rent, $35,000 a month." Yikes. Okay, Carmella is bankrolling. She says, "It seems irresponsible, but it is what it is." Tamra then asks about her real estate career. She says she goes up the coast doing one client at a time projects, essentially flipping, but says she doesn't like calling it that. She says it's a certain level of finesse to be in a luxury space. She wants to produce a home for somebody. She says, "My life is kind of fucked up all the time, so I want to give someone else something great." Jen says, "You mean with Jeff?" She says, "Yes. We were going to build a home to live in with our children forever." Well, when I found out he was not faithful, it hurt me so bad. And I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license and sell it. And she said she made $1.4 million on her first house and then just kept rebuilding from there. She's been doing it for a decade and loves a woman in a man's space. Okay, honey, yes. I like Carmella. I don't care that she has $35,000 a month rent. Because that's, something out of reach for me. So, I like to see that on my TV. I like that it's, someone that lives, in a totally different type of lifestyle than I do. That's why I watch the show. Like, they're like, "Oh, you got her a clutch." I'm like, "Oh, I want to see the clutch." Like, what is it, like, I'm not mad at it. Just saying. So we then pan over to the core four: Tamra, Vicki, Heather, and Shannon. They are going on a boat trip whale watching. This is Vicki's idea to get them to do something fun together. Tamra thanks Shannon for her text message asking if she needed any decorations for the taco bar party. She asks if she'll come over early to help decorate, and Shannon says yes. Shannon then says she went shopping with Carmella and reveals she was Playmate of the Year. Vicki says, "Oh yeah, you get naked for money. Not impressed." Heather says, "Don't say that." Vicki says, "She got naked for money." Tamra says, "I think we should be nice to her." Vicki says, "I'm going to catch her in a lie. I swear I will." Vicki. I can't. So then we go to Tamra's taco bar party. Shannon arrives early, like they had discussed with the decorations. She looks over to the side and sees little white boxes and says, "What's that?" Tamra says, "Playing a little game called Friend in a Box." Gina arrives, then Heather, then Jen, then Emily, and finally Queen Victoria. They all go eat. That food looks so yummy. Shannon then asks, "Where's Carmella?" Gina says she is in Santa Fe with her family. Shannon says, "New Mexico?" Gina says, "No, Rancho Santa Fe, California." Vicki promptly says, "That's right, because she doesn't live here. She just rents a place here to pseudo live here." Heather says she works for the Oppenheim Group. Gina says she told me she was a developer. Vicki says Mike is a developer. She's an administrative assistant at the front desk. Here is the Vicki we know. This is kind of reminding me of her meeting Lizzie for the first time in the limo. She's like, "What's your name again? Izzy, Lizzie?" And Lizzie was like, "You can call me Elizabeth since you can't keep it straight." Tamra then tells Jen, "Heather is a little upset with you." Tamra then tells Jen Heather is a little upset because she feels you are too invasive in our friendship. Emily interrupts and says, "Yeah, she thinks you're obsessed with her. Her meeting Tamra because you keep bringing her up all the time." Jen says, "What? Now I want to know who you fucking are." Jen says, "I don't like fake shit. I need to have a conversation with her." And Tamra says, "We still have a game to play." Tamra then gets the ladies back together and says, "I recently found out I was put in a box. And now we're having a boxing party to see where everybody is." This is classic Housewives. Everyone decorated their box and anonymously put what they feel about that person, be honest, in that box. Tamra says, "I'll go first." And the first one she pulls says eggshells. She reads another. "The friend that I love deeply, but when she hurts me, it cuts me deeply. Unsure, but hopeful." This is from Heather. She says, "I don't disagree with any of it." Gina gets all these nice compliments. Emily is hard on the outside, soft in the middle. Vicki got ones that said hustler, boss babe, ready to whoop it up. And then she goes, "What? Debbie Downer?" Emily says, "That was me." Vicki goes, "I'm a positive bitch." Emily says, "Just being honest." Vicki says, "I'm in pain avoiding knee surgery." Heather then pulls social bestie from Tamra. Jen then confronts Heather about her saying she keeps bringing her up, leading to the obsessed comment. Emily says, "Well, there is context to this." Heather says, "Every time we are together, you are talking about Tamra." Why do you keep asking about our friendship? Emily says, all I've ever heard tonight is you talking. Heather says, oh, that's rich. Heather then says she is sorry for using that word. Let's try to find a way to move forward. Jen said she would love that, but she is now in the confused as fuck box. Tamra then starts crying about the text from Shannon offering the decorations, and she just apologizes and says, I just apologize for all the horrible things, I've done. Shannon says, thank you for a very enlightening evening. Vicki at the end screaming, I'm not a Debbie Downer. Oh, I wish we could see all the comments from everyone's box. Like, I hate when they chop it up. I want to hear all the comments and know, like, everyone that said it. But something is brewing with Emily. I don't know what it is, but something with her feels weird. She went right for Vicki with that comment. Vicki's not going to let that slide. Do you guys agree? What do you think? And that's it for this Bravo breakdown on Just Saying. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned as I continue recapping Season 20 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. What are your thoughts so far on the new season? Send me a message, leave me a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Bye.